education and training. Oh, are we not? Are we live?
No,
We were.
you're on.
We were not.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I was doing
Thank
this.
you. Make sure that we're officially legal. And so the opportunity to provide the education and structural construct that's needed to happen for the park board. There's been a lot of new members that have been in and out of the position and new staff members. And so discussions with Beth and Dwayne and others, Kim, the suggestion was made that we look at potentially providing that education. We briefly spoke to Andy about it, and he is willing and more than able to help us with policies and procedures once we get to that, but has not as much willingness to walk through that strategic process with us. So I've come across this Chuck Lehman. He actually presented, I don't remember when the board meeting was, but he's been here and worked with us and had multiple meetings. So what this final contract, which was asked to be revised by Beth, just for clarity's sake, puts into place is that board organizational structure analysis and facilitated the work session. It's basically explaining the IC code that the park board sits under, because there was confusion about that. And then related to that, identifying roles and responsibilities for each of the responsible parties under that IC code, including the titles and duties associated with that. And then last but not least, being able to kind of help the park board to navigate through the new staff members and helping them to understand. So that's $6,000. And then a second part of that is if the board sees fit and feels that it needs to have somebody to basically work on policies and procedures associated with that, then there's a $5,000 opportunity. But the $6,000 is the one that everybody at this moment that I have spoken to has felt is the best bang for the buck. So the military men in the room understand structure and all of that. So, and you can't build a house if you don't have a foundation. And so far we have not 100% had that secure foundation. So that is where we're at. So is that explaining as much as you're hoping to?
Yeah.
So this has been something that has come before the board multiple different times for reviewing. It just, this version of it, like I said, Beth had requested that it break down the 6 and the 5 so that it equals the 11,000 at the top. That's the auditor in her to make sure that that equals the top amount. So.
Chuck, how do you feel about it?
No, I like it. You know, my personal opinion, the reason I didn't vote for it the last time and I wanted to sidebar it because we had a project with the swimming pool going on. And there were still things that needed to be purchased and everything else. So I didn't think at that time would have been appropriate to say, okay, well, let's sign a contract and then we run out of money. That was my biggest concern over the project. So the only question I have is if we vote to take this, is it gonna, the payment due next year? And Beth, maybe this applies. If we vote on this, would the 5,000 be taken out, or the 6,000, sorry, that's the first part, be taken out this year, or are we gonna vote for it the beginning of next year?
Well, if you take it out this year, that'd be great, but if you don't do it till next year, if you want to approve it and you have the contract signed, we can encumber it for next year, so it won't be out of next year's budget either. So either way, you're coming out of this year's budget.
But you're the money lady, so I don't
Yes,
know how much is in my
and
bank account.
We
so-
should be okay for $6,000.
Yeah, and I think that she had kind of pre-prepared for that, knowing that maybe it would be potentially move forward with this year. Even though if the process starts next year in January, which I think is what the folks at Chuck is anticipating, and I think Kim had requested that the process not start till January, so you guys would have more time, not the holidays, to start the process. And then I believe it goes from January and can last all the way. It gives you an ample amount of time. This, having read through every single last piece of it one more time to make sure nothing changed. Nothing has changed except for the 2 pieces. is that all y'all would have until the end of June of 2026 to go through the process. So you'd have ample amount of time to walk through the process and not feel rushed. So
I have a question. Is this something that we meet out of this meeting? It's just with him? Or is this something that he comes to our meeting and we have to include it? in the
if
meeting?
in one of those conversations, if you remember, I think it was the one that was sitting at your kitchen table, he had suggested that whatever the park board's wishes were,
Okay,
that it could be advertised as a public meeting, and obviously we'd have to think about open door and all of those things, but it would just be based on whatever the city of Rochester and the park board wanted to do. So he could come here and it could be a park board, but I believe, remember, it was like a half-day session. That was one of that, or he said it could be 2 hours to start with, and then a break to digest the information, and then another 2 hours. So he
okay.
said that's, whatever you want is what he will do, he and Sarah. So whatever your wishes are. I preferably think one big long day is a lot of time, a lot of effort. So if it maybe was 2 hours, digest whatever it was and then come back, at a second time, probably would be easier for everybody, but whatever he said would
So
work.
how many hours is it? For?
He said half a day, and I believe half a day was 4 hours.
Okay, I'm sorry that I knew we talked about it.
Yeah,
before,
that we
but I
talked about it
couldn't
ad
remember.
nauseum, and I think it was at the kitchen table that he had shared that, at your kitchen table, that he had shared that it would be 4 hours, half a day, either done in one full session, if that was what was, best for you, or if you wanted it 2 hours at one session and then 2 hours another session, whatever the wish of the board was, and the consensus was fine by him.
I guess I'll add that I'd like to read through everything since this is the first time I've heard about it. So I don't know if we have to vote on it right this second. I would be able to get a very, very knowledgeable vote. But I will say that another board that I sit on, we did have a consultant come in and do something similar, have a 5-year plan, the whole deal, which I see is on this list. And it has been very helpful. I don't know how much you already have in place to give this individual or this group to work with.
We kind of did it a little, in my humble opinion, we kind of did, well, not maybe on purpose, but the 5-year plan is done.
Okay.
But what we kind of uncovered, but this is just listening to everybody, is what I felt like we uncovered during that 5-year plan was that there was a confusion on what IC code that we worked under. There was some confusion on roles and responsibilities. The 5-year plan was great and it's done, and Trent's moving forward like swimmingly to get some of those things moving forward. But the structure, so it's like we built like the framework of the house, but we didn't have the foundation quite done. So we have the structure of the house, but the foundation is what that IC code training is. And it would be a manual that Beth could have for all new board members that says, this is the IC code, this is how this is what your roles and responsibilities, these are the duties of the different individuals that fall
Right.
under that. So it'd be like a nice
Okay.
tool for any new park board
For
member
sure.
like yourself that would come in, or an employee
Exactly.
like Landon.
Right.
So
So I guess I'll toss out there now that as a board member, I would be willing to assist in writing some of those roles and responsibilities, as I have quite a few years of experience in ISO code writing.
that would save
And-
$5,000. Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that.
And that would save the board $5,000, because that was the worst case scenario. If no one was willing or able to do that, then that was something that was added just in case. But if you were willing to do that, then that would save $5,000 for that.
So would you like us to hold off and turn the
I
council vote on
I
this
would
so
like
you
to
can
at
read
least
that?
be able to read through
Yeah,
this.
sure.
I
That's
don't
no
want to vote on
problem at
something
all.
I don't know what I'm voting on.
That is
Sure.
okay, because we just let Chuck know that most likely, with conversations to Kim, that if it seemed like it was in the positive, that we would not start until January.
January, yeah.
Because January is better than starting in December when all the holidays are there. So he understands that there might be additional conversation.
Well, like she says, the IC code is out there. It's already printed. All we need to do is get it. We don't need to pay somebody to get it for us. And that's what this is doing.
It's not necessarily just that, Mitch. It's related to our conversation that we had in the parking lot
We had
about
it, we
the
had it at the last meeting. that we had.
manual,
No.
the IC code can be read by anybody, but this is really, if you look at it, it's what does it mean for the park board? Explaining all of those nuanced details of ensuring that everybody kind of knows what their rules and responsibilities are. So I understand your thought process, but at the same time, I know a lot of people also do like to have kind of that more nuanced conversation and have somebody who is experienced in the subject to be able to communicate or walk them through that, if you will, like a training of some sorts that we could rinse and repeat to every new board member.
Okay,
It would be forever a tool that Beth would have in a, hopefully, some sort of document Dropbox or whatever, and we can print it off. So
okay, but we'll just, hold it off until the next meeting and you can have a chance to look at it and.
and you have the one that is drilled out with both, correct? That shows both the 6 and the 5.
I do.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, dear, I
Can
appreciate
you
it.
let Chuck know that we are going to discuss this again?
Sure.
Just so he can
Okay.
prepare his staff.
I sure will.
Right.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Thank you.
That's it, okay.
I have to run to Sydney now.
All right.
Fine. Don't run too.
I'm not gonna run too quickly. It's snowing.
I'm gonna let Anthony and Lee go next because they have a long drive home.
Mine brief like always. So I got 5 things on here. I didn't have my printer went out. So, right now we're doing a brief cleanup, cleaning up all the leaves and stuff that are falling down, anything that's about, anything that damage and whatnot. We got all of our irrigation winterized, seeped up, all the power turned off, all that good stuff. So we don't gotta worry about freezing pipe this next couple of days. Great. Mulching a bunch of leaves up. We mowed temporary tees. We removed all of our tees off the tee boxes, put in temporary tees so we can avoid our tees for the following season. Trash can, ball washers, rakes, have all been removed from the course also. So we're preparing for winter and getting ready to shut the course down here in the next month or so, depending on weather. And then we'll be on our maintenance program. And that's all we got for the month of October.
Thank you.
Got any questions for me?
No, we're done. Thank you.
Okay, I too will keep this brief. You all should have a packet. I included in there year to date for 2024 compared to 2025. As you can see, we're up about 15.5 compared to last year to date. So doing a little bit better than the previous year, so that's good. And then as you can see, there's another page in there that's our 2025 golf fees for the golf course. I am proposing that we raise those a little bit come into next year. Mainly just the greens fee portions. I think we leave our membership rates alone because we're pretty in line with other area courses, comparable as far as that goes. On our membership rates and our cart passes, but we are a little bit below where everybody else is as far as comparing to other golf courses that are pretty similar to Round Barn. So I'm I'm recommending that we raise our prices a little bit in 2026.
What's a little bit?
$2. $2
I
per.
agree.
I'm trying to.
It's if you look there on the right hand side, that's there's a proposal there. I'm just it's $2 across the board. So per 9 holes, per 18 holes, per 9-hole cart, per 18-hole cart. $2 all the way across the board for it. Which would put us at $47 for 18 holes with the cart. And just to put that in perspective, Rock Hollow is $72. The 2 places in Warsaw are in the 50s. I think it's like 54 and 58. So still being at 47, we would still be below where they're at. But I think, I personally think the product that we're putting out there, that we're giving the public, brand new golf carts, the course is in fabulous condition. I don't think that $2 is asking a whole lot to raise that.
You said the memberships would stay the same.
Yes. Yep. Memberships would stay the same. Cart plans would stay the same too for cart passes. The only thing that would change would be everyday greens fees for general public that comes in off the street.
You give me a thought.
And
Typing on.
can we take a vote on it?
Sure you
I
can.
think
Yeah.
Mitch,
No.
you're an expert in all this.
Reason I said that is because
No, I agree with it. Going around to these other courses.
trade them in, it affects the value on them. I don't-
down at
I just-
Logan Sport was a spectator.
That's something you-
30.
I asked him how hard did they come up with?
$35.
They'll leave it for us.
30. First.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna. It's gonna fade, if nothing else, if you have a sticker there, it's gonna be different color.
Right
15
there. It says
for
So,
9 holes, 15.
Uh,
20,
signs
21,
out.
18.
well, you.
Yeah.
well,
As long as.
spectator golf. That's the only thing I would say,
Yeah.
Most of them $20. But,
Right,
but
yes.
I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, I think it's okay.
Go ahead.
I make a motion, we raise it, $2 across the board for, the fees.
That's fine.
I second.
Wasn't sure.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we got that done.
Alright.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have any questions, issues, anything you need to address?
The only thing I want to say is thank you for, the flexibility on that pavilion, because I know the Purple Fin Hope was out there and everything else, wasn't they?
Yeah, that was like an all-day event. They did great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for being flexible, because this is the only time in my life that I know the park was kind of closed down for an extended period of time, and we didn't know when it was gonna be closed down, so.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that people was coming out there and golfers and everything else, so thanks for being flexible.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay. Trent, do you want to go? next?
Yep. So Gary couldn't be here. I talked to him this morning. He had a family emergency, or not big emergency, but a family situation in Chicago he had to attend to this evening, so. What I've done here, and I did this on for the city as well, on projects going on, because I was looking at doing a bond for these long-term projects that needed upfront costs, upfront dollars. So what I got to thinking was a lot of things that we've discussed over the last year or so, things we'd like to see, things we're in the middle of looking into further, and building a very similar type of investment approach. These are all long-term investments, 15-year probably minimum investments. So I know you have a 5-year plan. Maybe some of these fall into that, but literally these are long-term investments. How do we get there? How do we get there quickly? What's our options? And I was looking, and I talked to our financial advisors about the possibility of bonding to do these things, which, as I think I said in a couple meetings ago, Mayor of Peru, they took a bond out for their $1.2 million irrigation system they had to do on their municipal golf course. So bonding is a tool. Even though you pay some interest, it's still a tool that can get you these long-term investments done quickly. There is something that Kim and I met with Bryce. I've lost his last, is it Sheets?
Yes.
And Justin Moose
Yes.
Friday. And they said there's a thing called NCL financing, which is basically the same rate as a bond. Nice part about it is it's not a bond, it's more like a lease. However, you can use that financing to finance the labor as well as, so I'm going to explain this chart, which has a lot of pretty colors on it, but focus on the dark green. Things that we've talked about most recently was playground equipment. And priority 1 and 2 is JC and Fanster Park. The city park, as we've talked about, Manitow Mountain, at some point, does that need replaced sooner or later? When we've also talked about maybe getting some of this new equipment into Fanster and JC so that the public can see what the difference is and how nice it is. And then we move toward Manitow Mountain in maybe 27, 28 time frame. And I threw some estimated costs, and I know all these are high end. They're at a level that I know I'm pretty certain we won't even come close to, but certainly not exceed. So when you add all that up, you're looking at about 1.7 million to do all 3 park equipment projects. That includes all the prep, all the labor involved in putting it together. And that comes back at a 6% interest on a 10-year payback of about $220,000 a year. And I said, I noticed first payment spring of 27. Now you take the Manitou Mountain out of that, now you're talking like $500,000 on your first amount financed, and that payment's like 63 or something like that. But anyway, if you did them all at once, this is just kind of a quick picture. And talking to Gary this morning, he and I are going to sit down and look at, as well as with Beth, look at our numbers, because he thinks we can throw a lot more cash at these projects than just financing it all. So we're going to work on that over the next month or so, and we hope to be able to talk with you further about better numbers in February. Now, if you go on over to the right, there was discussion about a bathroom out of JC Park, so I threw a number in there. We also talked about the parking lot out across from the Little League Diamond at the city park, so I threw a number in there. And then we also talked about last meeting, I believe Dwayne mentioned the possibility of building the shop out at the maintenance building at the golf course, so we can get everything out of the building at the pool, take over there for the golf course, open up the building at the pool for all pool stuff that's now being housed out at the city park building, or some of it. So I threw a number in there as well as some paving possibly out there. All these numbers I think are high end, with the exception of maybe the bathroom. We don't know exactly what that might look like. But so when you look at the cash investment part over the next year, would be maybe 370,000 if you want to do all three of those projects next year. Just something to look at. And like I said, Gary said, knowing what he knows about our numbers on the park, he thinks we can even throw more cash into the dark green investment category and trying to accomplish a lot of these things, which Kim and I talked, and don't know how you guys feel, what you guys see or envision. To me, this covers probably everything we need to, big investments over the next 5 years plus, maybe longer. These are the big items. So there's also some information behind that shows a little bit about that financing and so forth. There is if you use this financing, there's a thing called Sourcewell, the discount, which is, I put 6% net, it's an 8%, but there's the cost of doing it, ends up being about a 6% net deduction. And you can see that how it reflects on the equipment side. Anybody have any questions on that?
And also, Bryce mentioned to us that if we did this Sourcewell, it's like a government thing and we get 6% off.
I'm showing here, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
And it's kind of also accountability to the way I understood, it's kind of accountability to the company we choose to use. Now, my advice to you guys, because of this being, especially as part of this equipment, this is a 15-year minimum investment. You need to go see some things. There's a lot of them to look at just in Kokomo. I would make a trip down there as a group if you could to look at this. I drove by a couple in a semi hauling corn by Northwest Park this fall, and I could see them. It was close to the road. You know, that's as close as I got, but you know, it's very convenient to look at a lot of different options down there, but figure out what you want on each park, your total wish list, and then we'll see where the numbers fall, and then we can whittle back if we need to. But I think it's very important that this board makes a trip down there, take Landon with you, and if Dwayne can go, and just to look at what they offer face to face if you need to. Otherwise, you know, you're going to pass the responsibility on to whoever can go to really make that decision, honestly. So if you can work out some time when you can do that, I would recommend that as soon as you can, if you're anxious to get some of these things rolling very soon. Do you guys have any questions for me on any of this, Dwayne? So I know it's the first time you've seen it.
We talked about some of this already.
Beth, do you get anything further? Okay. Like I said, we'll whittle these numbers around between Gary and I and Beth over the next month, and then we'll still work on the same figures until you guys know exactly what you want and get an actual quote on what each of those parks is going to need. And I honestly, I don't think you're going to be where you need to be on the Manitou Mountain replacement, but that's something that can be pushed down, you know, a couple years down the road. But I think you really need to figure out what you want on JC and Fansler. So, okay.
I guess I did have something. I wanted to remind everybody that the December property tax settlement, we usually get like a week before the end of the year. So when you look at your cash balances, they're lower than what you're used to seeing, but we haven't gotten the December property tax yet.
Okay,
Jack back up.
thank you.
Speaking of Beth, has there, in your circle of people that you talk with, what is future tax, what are tax implications are gonna?
Quite a few, plans on it, and it basically comes down to.
We don't know. They give it, the best estimate they did was they doubled the amount of the property tax cap. For next year. In 18, they took 318,000. But that was all they could do to estimate for the budget.
Over to you.
They are,
Thank you.
Philly is doing a very in-depth studies and putting copies of that so we can get some.
Okay.
One thing Gary Hartwig's done on all of our departments is look at this 1, 3, 5 and 10-year capital expenditure plan. And that has become apparent as a real tool we might be able to use depending on how the next session happens at the legislature. We know the more I hear from other mayors and other people connected with legislators is they realize this during recess this summer, how many wrinkles there were to that bill last year and how it is not a one size fit all for every community. So we know there's going to be some changes to it. We just don't know how much or how it's going to affect us as a community. So next March or April, whenever session's over, we'll have a better feel for that. But the thing that we found with this capital plan is, or we feel like we can take a lot of these items that's on that and maybe if we need to extend them a year, get them one more year life out of them, which saves us a ton of money. So there's a lot of things we can do to offset some of the implications of this tax bill. Now, this is going to be a little bit locked in if you commit to, a decent amount of investment here. But like if, for instance, the shop maintenance building out the golf course, I just told Anthony, meeting with him Thursday morning to look at what he's got and kind of what his needs are to get an idea of a better number. But I told him, I said, now there's another side to this. If we get you a nice shop, we may ask you to extend your equipment life a little longer because now you got a nice place to keep it going, keep it up and keep it in better shape, depending on how this tax bill thing shakes out. So we're looking for every opportunity we have to maybe pivot and adjust to whatever's kind of thrown at us.
What was the amount for the golf course? Is that?
I put 150 for the building, which I think is high, and I'll put 50 for the paving area, which was discussed about. What was your discussion on that last meeting?
But to pay the drive and the area in front because of all the dirt and dust that
Right.
get collected in the shop as they move the equipment in and out.
Right. What do you think in your mind, Dwayne, an estimate, since we just did your building out to the?
Well, we estimated 150,000 for the building. And I think that was based off of basically replacing the building that's the square footage of the building that they have all their stuff in over by the pool now and shifting that over to that same size building
Okay,
over. That's one thing we're gonna talk about, like attaching it to the end of the current building, so it just makes it one long building.
right.
Or do we put one just separate, or do we put them side by side? That's one thing we'll have to.
We'd like to keep the building that's there, and if we think it's best to build a new shop to have it my opinion, have it attached with a door, you can run stuff in, over the storage, bring it in, work on it, get it back without having to take it outside and back in. If we can do it at all, that would be best. But go ahead and utilize the building we have and just add a shop area that they can have a better environment to work on their equipment.
Was that like 55,000 or something like that, the one you did out to the park? Was that including the concrete floor?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the electric or a bathroom
No,
or heat,
basic building.
just building?
That's a cold storage, so you go to line it, heat it,
Right, yeah, okay, all right.
But I think that 150 will easily catch it. I think it won't be that much, but
Yeah.
until we get a plan, we can't get an idea for sure.
And then we talked about doing something with that building that's there, that's
When we,
leaks and it's got rotted places in it and whatever. It's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
we'll still have to do some repair on it, but it also gives a place. One, he's still gonna need a place, Lee's gonna need a place to keep his four-wheeler with the equipment to recover all the balls from the driving range. But then we can get rid of that little shed thing. And then we can store our chemicals in that building. That right now, some of them are over at street department, some of them are there. We can get all that stuff together too.
Now, what shape is that building in?
The roof on the west side, on the north or the south end building, because it's like two buildings that were added on. The one, it's got some roof rot that really needs to be repaired. At this point, I would say probably the best thing is just throw a steel roof on it. The rest of the building is okay. We had to replace the door. Remember when it got broke into, we had to replace an entrance door in it. And I know on the other end, closest to the pickleball court, there's some issue with the locks on that door. But I mean, it's nothing, we're not talking about.
Can we paint it, spruce it up, make it look nicer? It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Cause you guys spray painted yours. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot we can do to that building that can still make it
Does
usable.
it have a concrete floor? Okay.
Yeah.
And electric in it and all that?
It has some electric. That's another thing too. It'll give us an opportunity to go through because there has been years of stuff accumulated in that building that needs to come out and dealt with. So,
Right. We'll go to Landon.
Alright. Far as parks activity report, a lot of what been doing last month, winterizing, and kind of getting everything in shape for the winter. We winterized the splash pad, the water fountains at the main park, all the bathrooms at every park, including the pool. We also, one of our big projects was we ran power to the pavilion and the butterfly garden over at the lake. Then, other than that, some of the other projects that we've had running around, there's the Santa house that's going into Centennial Park, so we were getting things prepped for that. Got the wind nets, pickleball court taken down for the winter, and then we also winterized the entire pool facility. And we ran wiring at the pool for the light poles that are gonna be installed. For the most part, that is, everything's going good at the park. Slowing down a little bit and hoping the leaves don't get too bad on us.
Dwayne?
so just to piggyback on that, the one thing I did ask Landon to do was in the past, we've used Mike Allman as a plumber. He's done the winterizing in the past, and now that we have a dedicated person, I told Landon to bird dog him and see what he did so that in the future, then we can take that over without having to hire him. And then we're not dependent on his schedule, because that's always a challenge, is getting him in there to do that. So he did do that. Park improvements, the paving is done. I just talked to E&B and to Air Marking today. It looks like sometime this week. Of course, now where it's weather dependent, and so they're going to get the as far as the rumble strip in, they're going to get that in this week yet. At the very least, they're going to get the markings for traffic control in, and then depending on the weather, if they can't get it done, the worst case scenario is the parking lines and the parking blocks will go in the spring. But we'll have the driving part of it done this week based on weather. House tear down. Haven't been by there. The house is down. Now we're in the cleanup phase. I talked to Matt today. He'll be working on that to get it cleaned up. At this point, we know for sure it should be done by the end of the month. He thinks it'll be sooner than that, but I told him I'd rather tell you guys end of the month than he is a week or two early and then he looks like a hero, so. But it's come along. The street department's gonna provide the fill for the backfill for the basement. So he'll be getting that from us. On the lake bathrooms, I had a discussion with wastewater not too long ago. You may not know this or where, but that bathroom is on the vac system with the rest of the people on the lake. The problem we've had with that in the past, there's a couple things that's unique to it. One, there's only two places that are on that line that service that, and that's our bathrooms there and the house next door where the real estate agency is. Those are the only two on that line. They have problems with the line freezing because it passes under the bridge over the creek. And then we also have problems with it because people flush stuff down the toilets and get caught in the valves. And then once the valve's stuck open, you lose all your vacuum. The other problem that we have is that it's part of the original vacuumatic system that was put in way back when. All that equipment was proprietary to their company. We can't go a lot of parts. So at some future point, we may have to look at them redoing all the mechanical room with new vacuum components. And my question was, do we have any alternatives to that? The house there's alternative for the house to get put on from another line. They could go another direction and get that house. It would leave just us. So then the question was, is there some way that we can redo that bathroom so it has like normal drains and all that stuff in it? And that would require us putting a pod out just for, like, if you notice around like different places, there's pods where your stuff goes. So that may be an option. The other option that I haven't explored yet is whether we could, because of the distance to other lines, whether we could drop a holding tank and just have a contract to have somebody like Eric Lease or somebody suck it out a couple times a year and just make it independent of any other system. That'd help out wastewater as far as having to deal with that system on that side of town. It would fix a lot of our problems too, as far as when we have stuff that gets caught in their system. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's going to be a future thing we're going to have to look at. But I don't have any hard numbers or anything like that. This has just been kind of a new thing we've just been talking about.
Does that, if you do that, then does that, we replace everything that's in there, the toilet, so we don't have that?
Right.
It does.
It sounds like you're.
Yeah, so many times I go in there and it's
Yeah, I know.
just a war and I'm like, oh my God. And
Sounds like a dead engine.
yeah, yeah.
I know. But yeah, that would alleviate that as well.
Okay.
On the pool lights, like Landon said, we did have Bill get the lines. We had to get with Jared because there was some confusion about where some of the conduit lines, and we found out that they had started some and then terminated them and didn't use them. And so anyway, we were able to get that done. I talked to Bill today as far as finishing the rest of the lights. Some of it's going to be weather dependent. Some of it's going to be dependent on a semi-retired electrician and whether he wants to get out in the weather or not. So, but we will have lights up by spring. The rest of the equipment is indoors right now. Actually, it's in the building, in that green building that we got the other golf stuff into.
Oh,
It's
okay.
indoors right now, but
Just light in the.
yeah. Yeah. And I believe that's it.
Anybody have any questions?
Dwayne, what's your game plan for that shed that the house is taken down?
Oh.
Are you gonna be,
So I've talked with Landon about that. I'd like to move that probably up close to the Snoopy building. There's already actually hard surface there. Wouldn't take much just to move it across the grass and set it there and have another storage building.
would the city be able to do that with the equipment that you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, with the electrical, it's phenomenal having it at the beachside. So I mean, I went out there and looked at it. and that is- it's a
I'm
great job.
excited.
So,
Thank
did
you.
Did Bill do that?
No, we did it.
Oh, really?
Landon and crew did it.
Wow, looks professional. So, great job. I mean, I looked at everyone, I opened up all the outlets and everything else and it looks really nice. Do we have a game plan since you guys did such a phenomenal job, at Fansler Park?
We haven't looked. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you guys were on a roll,
Nice
so
to
I
meet
was
you.
just gonna let you guys keep going. So, but no, that looked very, very professional and really nice. So you guys did a phenomenal job at that. I tell you what, with the electronic age, people utilize those. So, thank you.
We'll put it on our to-do list.
There isn't electric at Fansler, right?
No.
There, we have electric in the bathrooms.
Then
Yeah,
it could go from just like here,
Yeah.
you guys went down through and ran it to the pavilion.
Yeah.
At Fansler, you could pretty much do the same thing.
But at JC, we're kind of gonna have to start from.
DC is
scratch.
a whole different animal there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was just a concern that if we started out with JC or whatever, redoing that playground, whichever one we do first or whatever, that we really need to get some security.
If you decide to put a bathroom in there,
That would-
you're gonna have to have electricity anyway, so that would be, I mean, that would just be part of it. And that would simplify powering anything else.
Okay.
So, and we could work that in as part of the project.
That did remind me something, talking about the electric at the Butterfly Garden. I got a grant from Community Foundation a year ago for the Butterfly Garden, and I haven't spent it yet, so I was just gonna go ahead and use that to buy the lights for the pavilion, so the park board didn't have any of that, if that's okay with you guys. If I do that?
Are you
Okay.
restricted for what you can use it for? For the grant?
No, they presume it's gonna be for plants or whatever, but I'm sure it's electric Christmas lights would
Hmm.
be. But I
Would be
just wanted to make sure that you guys, I was just gonna string some, Landon's gonna help me. Dwayne helped me last year. String some lights up on the rafters and, I had 4 Christmas trees that I saved from last year's, pots uptown, but we just didn't get around to planting them at the park. And so I took one of the big Fraser firs that I've kept at my house, watered for the last year, and I put that out there, so it wasn't any cost. And then, so the others are looking a little straggly, but I did use them. Roses shorted me 4 trees by accident, so I'm like, I used the trees that I had, so if you see 4 trees.
You kept going.
I did, I watered them and I have a game plan for all of them next year, so, okay, so if that's okay with you guys, I'll go ahead and use the money for that, okay?
We get Janelle next.
Yes, are you Janelle? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, your name is nowhere on here.
Okay.
You know, so, but instead of you having to sit till the very end, we want to just, you said you wanted to introduce yourself.
Sure, I
Let
just,
Jessica sit to the very end.
I just wanted to introduce myself, Janelle Mulligan. I'm actually here on behalf of the Rochester Girls Softball League. We play over at the Blackner Complex, and soccer plays over there as well. We were gifted a grant from the Community Foundation this year for playground equipment, so been working with Ed on who you guys use, and well, these are much bigger projects than what we're looking at, but we slated around $10,000 to be able to put in some playground equipment over at that complex. And so just trying to figure out who you guys use and how to do it safely and make it look professional. And we didn't want to just put in a sandbox and a swing set. We wanted to kind of see what we could do. And so it's given me some good advice. And so I was here to kind of gather intel, I guess.
Well, thank you. Now with that brings up a point, because we're gonna be redoing our parks and we're gonna be taking out playground equipment and that. And so we don't have a whole lot of storage and it's sitting around and people's messing with it. I would propose that we maybe, you know, if the kids are gonna be using it in the community, we keep our playground equipment in the community. And if Blackader wants it, to give the things that we don't want or gonna reuse, to give them first right of opportunity to take the playground equipment if they want it. You know, because we all know sitting around here, $10,000, how far that goes when you're talking playground equipment.
Not much.
Sandbox.
You know, but you know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, you've seen some, if I'm not sure if you've seen some of the prices that I sent you.
did.
Were you sitting down when you looked at them?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So I mean, really anything that we got, I would rather keep it in the community where people could use it instead of us warehousing it somewhere and then somebody recycle it for scrap. But anybody else have thoughts on that?
I,
No, I agree.
Is there a time limit on when you need to spend that money?
This is the first grant that I've had that could be a project that needs several phases, so I don't know how lenient the community foundation would be on
Okay.
that.
That might be a question I ask
Yeah.
to make sure it works with our timing. The other thing is it's certainly possible. I know when Caston redid all their playground equipment, they donated all the old equipment to the town of Fulton for their park. So I'm sure that we can do the same thing for this. I don't see where there'd be a problem.
yeah, if we have stuff that's up to snuff and will pass code and just, it may not be the brightest yellow on the slide or whatever, but I think we have a couple of slides for sure that in a merry-go-round and a couple of things like that, okay.
Yeah, we'll work with whomever and if it is a phase type project, then, you know, we certainly. We're not in a big hurry, but I don't know the community foundation if they, I guess they gave us 2,500 and the rest was generously donated by families through. So I guess 2,500 could go towards the foundation of the project and then the rest of it really has no timeline to it.
Do you have some place to keep it? Like, you know, and I know on one of the playgrounds will probably get started, you know, early spring, early winter, whatever, if we get it decided what we want. So when they take those things out, do you have a place for?
If we can find a spot for it, but kind of ways nobody's playing on it without. So yeah, we can find a spot.
So do you have a footprint size area that, because, you know, the bases we've looked at, they're gonna have some cost to them, so
Right.
it may take a good part of that 10,000 to just put your base in.
Yeah. I had it on my agenda last week and then this week, you know, just several things have come up, so I need to get out there and measure and work on measurements. So I'm at very basic, you know, trying to figure out what we can afford and what we can't, and so right now we're just kind of just gathering information, so I do need to make those measurements.
Now, the recommendation I gave her, and this is only me, and I want you guys to chime in, because this is probably the most important, what we struggle with here is, you know, we have mulch at Manitou Mountain, and that comes up missing and everything else, so it's hard to keep the rubber mulch. I told her the best thing, it seemed like to me, is the pea gravel stays around a lot longer and it's cheaper and more economic, because when we're looking at our parks, we're talking perf and we're talking that rubber stuff, which $10,000 isn't even gonna be able to touch that. But what she's looking at doing and where it's at and everything else, I recommended pea gravel, but I would just put it out there if anybody, and how many inches should you have?
6.
At least 6 inches. So when you're talking pea gravel, that, I mean, yeah, that might be a lot. JC Park has pea gravel.
Yeah.
And it seems like, just as an observation, it seems easier to keep code and everything else. So you might want to go by JC Park, but just with the budget that you have, personally, I would probably recommend you pea gravel, but
Okay.
you could, if anybody else wants to chime in, I didn't want to give a bad recommendation.
Another idea I might have for you is if you, once you get your footprint laid out, of course, you gotta dig out a fair amount of stuff to be able to put in your 6-inch of base. But you might work with the school and their construction group that, you know, they could come out and maybe dig that out for you and make that to grade. I mean, that'd be a good project for them. And the other thing I was gonna talk, which has nothing to do with you guys, I talked to Michelle last week about the stormwater.
Oh,
And I did meet with Beth this morning. I think we have a plan to exempt you guys for that for next year completely. So I know you guys are really tight on funds, so
goodness, that's.
so you can pass that message on to her. I told her it's a possibility, but I need to run it by Beth, and we think we have a plan to do that. So the next year, you shouldn't have to worry about it.
Okay.
And I know the Smith family is also on the board out there as well, right? The farmers.
Shalley's.
Yes, and Challies, they have farm equipment as well, so they should be able to haul off a lot of that dirt, and then that way it's not. You just have to get whatever poured in there.
Right, yeah. They're sometimes hard to get a hold of in the fall and spring for some reason.
Everybody's hard to get a hold of.
But thank you for producing.
Well, it's good to put a face to the voice on the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I just make a recommendation, and I'm not sure if we need a vote, that we give them the first right over anything that we're not gonna reuse or
We can
repurpose.
make a vote. Sure, go ahead.
So I make a vote and a motion that we give the softball / soccer fields the first option for their playground over anything that we don't want to use.
And what fee?
Yeah, Blackadder out there.
Yes,
Blackadder's.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor? Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you. Jessica, sorry I kept on.
All right. Appreciate it.
Okay, so for the impact grant that you guys were awarded for the 20,000, there was a follow-up report to make sure like we were using it for the right funds. So I just had to fill that out saying that it was ordered, delivered, and that it'll be installed before the season starts. So that's all that was. It was just a couple little things I had to fill out, but that was due the 19th, so that's all done. And then there is a follow-up in May, right before everything goes up, to make sure it actually went up before. So that's all done for the climbing wall. I kept saying slides, so I said that in my notes, but I went back and looked, I did say climbing wall. The Community Foundation has granted the Light Up the Park $4,200. This is to be used for light displays, what we put in the list, light displays, candy, because I found a box of like candy canes that were like 500 a box. If you guys wanted to go that route, as well as any marketing, if you wanted to do that. Those were the 3 options of pricing that we had put in. I was proposing that Ed and Tammy can help with the ordering of the lights, since we would need to do that before the next board meeting. I provided some lists. I can follow up with those. I've sent Tammy and Kim a few options, but I'll let you guys handle the ordering. My suggestion would be to get lights for all the pavilions. And this is just a suggestion, because I know that was something, we didn't have lights for all the pavilions last year. I think there was one that wasn't lit, and that would really save the community of having to put up lights around it, when they can actually get more displays that can go inside the pavilion. So we could focus on making sure all of them are lit. And if they looked uniformed, I think that would look nice as well. And then go from there, what's left of ordering those bigger displays that will, that could go within the park. But with the grant, we were gonna get reusable lights, so things that can be reused every year. It's not just a one and done, so we need to look at quality and things that, will hold up. Because some of the stuff we got last year were kind of some quick lights or donations, and they held up for the event, but some of them were towards the end, after a month of being outside didn't last as long, so I think we just need to make sure we're getting some quality stuff. We're gonna order some, you know, lights to be able to use year round, but it does really save the community some, you know, it saves the community some money, and last year was a little, we weren't sure what we were doing, so it was just like, hey, what can you put out there? And it kind of, you know, we did what we could, but if you guys could handle ordering all those. And then I did follow up with some people. It was before Halloween, so I hadn't really heard back from some businesses, but we do have 2 pavilions. Two pavilions reserved and then 2 that are open. Girls on the Run, they were there last year. There's also a Hannah Gordon. She has a media business. She wants to put up a display. And I'll work with everybody on where we're gonna put everything and what they're gonna do. So not just gonna go out there and put stuff up. Church of the Heartland wants to participate. We talked about having them up at the big pavilion. Maybe they can hand out other types of candy or have music or hot chocolate or something. So I'll work with Michelle Howard, working on that. Maybe they could provide the music. Maybe we could have some speakers going, or I just don't know how well the equipment will be in the cold. So it might be up in the air with that. RTC, I'm working with Leslie and then just waiting to confirm with RMC that they're gonna do another big arch. They're gonna do it differently where it's not so, we're not putting those giant holes in the ground and stuff again. We'll do something
No, I like
they
that.
said different that'll be easier to take out and stuff like that. So that they're kind of planning ahead, but that was such a big hit and they want to do that again. So
That's
I just followed up with Leslie. And then we do have volunteers. I will volunteer that day. It won't be for the marketing stuff, but also like we'll help with assisting setup and stuff throughout and doing all that. We have 5 volunteers. So anything we need as far as like parking guidance, you know, handing out candy or anything like that that we need day of or prior to the event, like just hanging lights or anything, we just need to give directions to people, and if they can help, they can come out. If not, they, you know, we'll just let them do what they can because they're volunteering. Same with the park board, you know, whatever you guys can do as far as handing out candy, different stuff like that. And then I have talked to Dwayne, and Kim proposed a flagpole Christmas tree over in the median on the north entrance. There's a pole there already, and electricity can be run across with either like a strip or a barrier. And then for the barriers for that day, since the city owns the property, we do have to go to Border Works and get a permit. So we need to do that, but I was hoping to have it blocked off for the whole event, only because if they come in that one entrance, they're gonna miss part of it. They might go out. I mean, it's not really a huge deal, but if it could be for the whole event, that would be really awesome. But it would just be so they can go in and out the whole route, not just halfway. And then Dwayne and Landon will help with assisting, and then any crews, Dwayne will help with the crew, getting crew, bucket truck of any like big lights we need to hang, anything like that. So we'll just work with them when we're ready to go put some stuff up, which is the week of December, I think it's December 6th. First I have the 8th, but I think the 6th is the first day. That's a Saturday that people can start going out just in case they don't have during the week. And then let's see, Trent, I was hoping maybe you could dress up as Santa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you weren't around last year, so I was kind of hoping for this year if you could.
Granddad.
Didn't you have the, Kim,
Special
didn't you have the
rules.
dirt?
Yeah, they were sick. And
Right,
so they
but-
couldn't make it last year.
I have them on backup just in case, you know, wasn't gonna work with Trent or he was out of town. It's the
Who's on
13th,
backup?
the Jerkises. Last year they just weren't able to do it because they were sick.
He would be perfect, and she looks.
They
like-
have an they already have the outfit.
Okay,
right?
then,
Oh,
then
they
let's
would be
say.
You want me to talk to them first?
Yes.
Okay.
They already have the outfits and everything else, I
Okay.
believe so.
Yes, they do. They've been to one of my events dressed up, so
Tell
that's
them-
why I asked. what-
tell
I
them
had
to-
an outfit for Trent.
Don't
I'll be at
ask
the
them.
house buying eggs soon, so I'll go talk to her. Okay, so I'll have you with backup just in case, December 13th.
Yeah, maybe 3rd string or 4th string.
Okay, Dwayne's second string.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just following up with everybody, just trying to get more, 2 more pavilion rentals, and then any type of donations, you know, would be as a fundraiser for the Parks Department since we've received that grant. So I think that's gonna be, I would also like to announce that to the public that we've received that so that people feel less pressure, because I think you know, seeing what was going on last year too, is like, okay, that is a lot of stuff actually to decorate one pavilion. You know, it was trying to get blow ups and other lights and icicle. There's a lot of things that need to be done. That's why I wanted to suggest the string lights that just takes one big thing off of someone's list. So I'll just be working with community members and just trying to get more people involved and go from there.
Now, how about the Jeeps, Jess? We had the Jeeps last year. Was you able to get a hold of anybody with them?
I just followed up again yesterday, so I'm just waiting to hear back. I know they wanted to, before they even left the event, they said they wanted to do it again this year, so I just need to get in contact with them. So I'm just waiting to hear, but I've emailed twice. I sent another email out to everybody yesterday. It had been a couple weeks, so I just wanted to follow up with some
Okay.
people. Yeah, I hope so. That was really awesome. So I know they were really into it. They said any other event we had, they'd be willing to do that. So they were from all over. That was really neat. I mean, Mishawaka and Huntington and all different places. They just have this Jeep group that they just roll around together and light up their stuff. When they came in down the road, that was so awesome. But that is all I have for marketing update.
Okay, thank you. I have this, I had talked to Beth about it. Got it, okay, that we have the money if we want to go ahead and proceed ordering, trying to replace the old picnic tables. So I got a proposal from Bryce on adding 10 more, and so that's what that said. Beth said, yes, we definitely have the money. As far as, I didn't know how we would be on storage, Dwayne. So
What?
on the picnic tables, if we ordered more, Play Pro said they would store them for us and bring them next spring. They would deliver them. Cause I'm like, I don't know where we put all those, cause I remember it was quite the pile. So I mentioned that to Bryce and he's like, oh, that's not a problem. We'll just keep them at Play Pros and then we could deliver them. So Ed had mentioned to me, you know, we have talked about every year adding more and more picnic tables. So that's what I did. It's the same thing that we had, the Tinder Tough. And that's what it is.
Last year.
Yes, yes. Did
No.
you guys ever get the grills?
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, they have them in, Dwayne has a game plan where he's gonna put them in a 5-gallon bucket, concrete them, and then when the summertime comes, that give it a bigger base, and he buries the 5-gallon bucket, puts it in. I believe that's what you said.
We're gonna still try to get him in this year.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Now with the picnic tables, my thought process is, and I know we would, the big city park we're looking at, but if we bought 10 more, we could finish up that one pavilion and put 2 in there. And then all the other parks we could have brand new picnic tables. Cause I know we're going to JC Park or Fansler Park. Fansler Park has 4, JC Park has 2. And then that way you don't have to worry about them getting broken. Cause I talked to the principal of Columbia Elementary and he uses that park a lot. And he does experiences rather than gives kid money or a certificate or whatever. So he takes the kid and they go to Fansler Park and they sit down and have lunch together and stuff like that. So sometimes pulling the tables out, it hurts the 95, 98% of the people who's doing the right thing. And this way, if we have the metal tables there, and then we could put the 2 in there, 4 in at the other place and 2 in by the bike trail, there's 2 picnic tables at that little pavilion there. That would be 10 tables. And then that way it pretty much covers every place that we have, and we don't have to worry about tables getting broken and everything else. That would just be where I would put the 10. But
Instead of like.
instead of just
number
putting them
one
all at the
pavilion.
city park.
Okay.
But we could finish off the city park because there's 4 new tables and 2 old tables.
Yeah.
And that right
Finish
there,
that off.
as a father, that's the worst setup there is.
Oh,
Because people
God.
don't be fighting over it and everything else. You put the in-laws there and then they're upset. You know, it's just a bad deal. So if you just, when you have 2
Okay.
old ones and somebody gets stuck at those, it's not a good outing.
Okay.
The one thing that we did find with those 10 is that because of the weight of them and because they're made out of metal, they try to move them around and it just really scrapes up the concrete, and we ended up having to bolt them down to the concrete.
That works
So-
phenomenal.
So we still have to, at some point, we still have to have some to provide for the different events that we have, because if we pull them off there and take them, you know, downtown for, you know, for the nickel plate and for any, you know, the chili cook-off, that kind of stuff, we still need those type of tables or something like those that we can move around for those events.
Can we not use the wooden ones for that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't want to get rid of all of the
Right.
wooden ones. Either that, or then my recommendation would be that we look at some aluminum ones, some lighter ones that we can move around, because those 10 are heavy. And because I think they're galvanized, the frameworks on them are galvanized, and then the tops are aluminum. And
I think the aluminum's a great idea, because I mean, you think how many different city functions there are.
But that should be to me, that should be an RDP expense, not a park board expense.
Right.
And I'll tell you something about those aluminum ones at Argus Park, you know what I'm talking about? They stacked them all up and somebody came in and scrapped them. Took all the benches, cause it's.
Probably have to store them at the street department, wouldn't we?
well, we have a place that we can store them. And
Just
just
use
it
them
would
for
be
events only, but RDP.
Yes, I agree with that, yeah,
If you had 10 to 15, I think that's the most that they.
yeah,
Would be good.
okay, all right, okay. Okay, somebody wanna make a motion then?
On this. For these 10s?
I'd make a motion, if you have the money, Beth,
ones that they're getting
that we purchase 10 more picnic tables for use at the parks.
rid of. No,
I second.
All in favor?
10 more than the ones you got here?
No, just
No,
10,
just these 10.
just these 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
How much
Dwayne,
for those?
how much were they?
Yeah,
The tables?
16,000.
Yeah,
for 10 of them.
yeah, do you want Play Pro to store them until next spring?
It'd be 19.5 with
Yeah,
shipping.
tax and freight. You want them to keep them? Okay, so I can tell Bryson, he
No.
said it's not a problem.
It'd be nice to get
Cause I know you don't have any friends to put them together or,
10 at a time.
right?
Yeah, we still have to put them.
Okay, okay, all right, okay. And we talked about the lights.
And then
yeah.
the last thing I would say with the lights is I think with like any grant, and I don't know if we have the money, but I think with a grant coming in,
Get
you know,
that.
I think it'd be nice if we matched the grants coming in, where we could basically get a good light display and everything else. You know, because I'm looking at the prices of, I talked to Eric Lebowski, he's the park director down at Danville, and they have the drive-through. You're talking commercial, industrial, and you know, I looked at some of those prices, and I lucky I was sitting down, because one arch, you know, just the tube arch with lights in it is $1,900. You know, so if you want $10,000, you get five loops that you drive under. That's what you get for $10,000. You know, so I mean, I'm not saying, you know, I don't think, you know, the scope and us charging and everything else, I still want to just be where
Mhm.
people could drive through it and have fun. Because most of those other places are kind of blocked off during that time frame. And the park's only opened up at night and stuff like that, so it's really restricted. We would want to do that, but I think it would be nice to get a great foundation on the lights and being able to look around and everything else. Now, my only concern, and this is you, Dwayne, is the stuff that we get, we don't have the house garage anymore. Is there a place that we can store it safely?
Yeah. We'll find a place for it. I
Okay.
mean, ultimately, we'll have the space. I mean, we'll have the building at the pool. We have the building that we're gonna move up by Snoopy building that, you know, we could utilize. So, yeah.
I was, you know, I went in the new pole barn that you guys built. Is there a possibility, like over on one wall where you know that you're not gonna be driving in that we could do a set of stairs and a second story like thing that would be nothing like storage for
mezzanine or
the
something.
parks, that Lindsay could keep her stuff, we could do the Christmas stuff, and cause we kinda got it helter-skelter there. And back to you, Beth, so that was asking you, do we have money to be able to match the grant from Community Foundation? Yes, I just wanted to,
I do have a question. are any of you wanting to come to the Board of Works this Friday to talk about these barriers, or somebody has to present it to the Board of Works? I don't know, Dwayne can do that if it's a
I can
member
do
of the
that.
board, or you can do it, okay, I'll put you on the agenda.
Okay, so we need. a
Gotta be there anyway.
resolution That match the grants, you said we have money.
Yeah, Landon could do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I make a motion that we match the $4,200 from the Northern Indiana Community Foundation.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. I think that's it unless somebody has something else.
The last thing that I have
Sorry.
is for Beth. Now, Beth, if Tammy and I and Jess are put in ordering lights and displays and stuff like that, or purchase them, how would you prefer that we do it?
Well, if we can order them, it'd be really good, because then we've got an account. I think, Wayne, don't you use Sourcewell?
Yeah, well, for the kind of lights they're talking
Well, I
about,
mean,
It
of course, I
depends.
mean, how would we, do we have an account at Sourcewell that we could use?
Sourcewell is like a co-op. It's actually the different companies signed up to be part of Sourcewell.
So anybody can use.
Was there a motion on this?
Well, Sourcewell is not a place that we can go order. It is
Yeah, we just did.
it's like it's a like a co-op that different companies have to join. And then if we want to buy something, we would have to go to that company that is under Sourcewell.
Oh, I can.
Hold on.
Okay,
Do we have
it's not
something like-
Sourcewell. No,
Okay.
we'd have to look. I mean, there's a website for Sourcewell that lists all the different suppliers of different stuff. But I know last year, a lot of the stuff we bought through Amazon and,
Yeah, you could buy through Amazon. I just didn't know Sourcewell. had-
yeah.
So if we do that, however we do it, what do? We just give you a list, or what?
Yeah,
do
we can
do
order them,
Amazon
and
it?
then we can put it, pay for it that way, so, yeah. My card can be used.
Amazon, though, I mean, if you go through our office, we can get it with no sales tax.
Yeah,
If you do it personally, you're gonna be paying sales tax, on it,
Right.
so make sure we route it the right way.
yeah, we're set up for that way, so going through us would be just fine. I mean, that Lindsay went through us for the summer parks program,
Yeah.
so.
Then a lot of that too is if it's like the light place up in Warsaw that you're looking at some of those, you know, display stuff. We would just have to get them as one of our approved suppliers. We'd have to get a Form 9 and all that stuff from them. And then give them our ST 105 for the tax exempt. And then we would just purchase it. The amounts you're talking about is not anything that really we need.
We can do it that way too. We could just pay them with check,
Yeah.
but you'd have to have, W-9 from them, and we have to do this T-105, which is not that big of a deal. We do it all the time, but
Yeah.
it just depends on how you want to do it. But if you want to use Amazon, you can use ours because we are sales tax exempt, and
Mhm.
we can just order it.
So Dwayne, you're saying that in Warsaw, is there a place there that sells?
Yeah, on 30 there, west
That's what-
of the town.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, if you wanted to use something like that, it'd just be a matter, like I say, they would need to provide us with a W-9, which I'm sure as a business, they've had to do this with other companies. And then once they're in our system here, then, and they've got our tax exempt number, then we just make that, yeah.
Okay, so then Beth, with me, as far as ordering with the grant money that I got, I just come in and it'd just be off of Amazon. Pardon?
Yes.
Tiny Butterfly Garden at that point.
Yes. Yeah, it'd probably just be Amazon. I'm gonna pick the best one. I think I can get good enough ones off of Amazon, don't you guys think? For out there?
For the butterfly, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'll do that.
Establish
Was
a
that
credit
place on
account with.
30 before Warsaw or after
Company,
Warsaw?
It's both, I don't know.
West of Warsaw,
What's it called?
east of Warsaw.
East of
I
You
Warsaw.
don't
guys see it?
Do you know what it's called?
And it's right on
No, I'm
30.
looking.
Yeah, it's on the south side of 30.
Do you know what it's called in Warsaw?
What, the
No.
name?
I just see it when
Yeah,
I don't know. They got decorations sitting on the
Okay.
outside.
I'm Warsaw.
It's weird, and I'm on drive.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
looking it up right now.
Okay.
I've seen it. I forgot about it.
okay. Okay. Um,
Do you have any local places that have Christmas lights, like maybe Inyards or something, or a way that we could even order through them to, provide
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I'm kind of thinking we needed kind of more commercial stuff if we want to use it.
They may.
They may.
Tammy's gonna be going there already, so maybe she can
I'll
just
ask
ask.
while I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm
might not
gonna
be an
go-
option
I'm
at all,
gonna
I'm not
go
sure, but
ask.
maybe they would want
Places
to
like
go here
last
or
year-
They
do something at
They may have
cost.
lights too. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they might.
You
How,
know?
how about right after the meeting, us three just get together real quick and,
Okay,
and come up with a game plan?
that sounds good. So we don't have to take everyone's time.
And I just want to say thanks for all you guys are doing, man. It's, you know, it's exciting to be in Rochester. You know, I just, on my free time, I like to drive around and just look at everything going on. And it is super, super cool. And I mean, it just, from roads to, you know, the swimming pool to the everything else, it just really, really neat to see. So I mean, it just, you know, I just drive by and I pull up at the swimming pool and I just look at it. You know, there's nothing in it. It just, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, there's a lot that was put into that. You know, and it is pretty awesome. And I don't know how many times I drove on that new pavement, the new asphalt around the city park. A lot, you know, and then just being in circles. There was a lady actually the other day, I was there and I was looking and I said, I really like the asphalt, don't you? And she's like, yes. And she was walking and then I was over at the house and looking at it and I was like, that's where the fireman ripped out the side and she came walking by again. And I'm like, okay, she's looking at me kind of strange. Let me introduce myself. And I did. She's like, oh, you know, I noticed your license plates and they said 32. So she is looking and she's like, okay, a middle-aged white male in the city park, out of state, I mean, out of city. You know, she said, I did have a lot, to be honest, I had a lot of red flags. You know, and I introduced her in pocket and everything else and with, you know, she's actually one of my neighbors and it's nice to introduce everybody and but you know, it is just really super cool just to see everything going on. And you know, even if it's a little fence over at Parkview Park or, you know, it's bicycles or a house getting tore down. I mean, it's just neat to see so many things going on at once. And without each and every one of you guys, we would be set back. So I just want to say thank you guys very, very much. And Jess, you know, I honestly thought all you was going to do was just social media stuff. And I mean, you hit the ground running and you're doing this and lights in the park and everything else. And it's really neat to see everybody hitting on all this. And sometimes we might not all see eye to eye, but you know, we all have the same vision and plan is to make Rochester better and our parks better. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
In the morning, Ed and Lori and I are taking off for the convention, so we're hoping to find all kinds of neat things and spend all kinds of money. Keep on smiling, Beth.
I'm restroom bound. I'm looking for a restroom for JC Park.
You'll find.
I just
us.
want it nice and easy because after talking to the principal at Columbia, it really enlightened me how much they really go over there during the day. We don't see stuff like that, but he was really giving good feedback. And on our steering committee, there was a teacher that said she took her class down there, you know, and that stuff we don't see. But it's nice to hear that other people are saying, and the other thing he said is in the summertime, they open up a childcare, the schools do, and it's at Columbia. And one of the things that they like to do is go down to JC Park.
Well, we have
In the
huge
church
childcare addition that's gonna happen there next year or two too.
So I mean, that's even a more incentive to put it up because it's nice to be able to take the kids, go on a little field trip, a little walk, you know, to them. It's, wow, we're going to
An
JC
adventure,
Park, we're going
yeah.
on an adventure and this and that. So, you know, it really opened up my eyes, really, what he does and what the school does and why it's important. And he brought up that whole summer care program. He's like, I just want to say that that would be great because this is what we do.
Mhm. And the church right there has nursery school. That's where Lori Simpson goes. And so they take kids over there. And so, yeah, she was really hoping we could make it, for little ones, wee ones because of that and, handicap accessible, you know, so everybody can use it. So Jesse,
Talk about your design and stuff, think about the additional childcare that's gonna go into the Columbia and the age appropriate type of equipment that you need to think about there.
Right, right, okay. Jessica?
Oh, is it?
Was, yep. That's where the old school
I
was.
didn't know that.
Hey, really, we're
That's
JC?
because we
Really?
were raised in the eighties, not the sixties.
Yeah, well,
Good job.
Go ahead, Jessica. Get it.
Will there be parking over at the big pavilion? I can't remember what we talked about at the last meeting, so I can kind of organize people be able to park for Light Up the Park. We'll just have someone guiding traffic and
Yeah.
we can have a volunteer or a board member doing something like that. But confirm that that would be an option, because I wanted to get more vendors up there, maybe a couple more spots.
You know, I never understood why it's called
There.
IC Park.
To make sure like
That's
people.
where Columbia School was.
Sure,
Yep.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
JC's
I have.
put money into that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I figured.
You wanna
But,
make
yeah,
a
that-
motion?
JC's had that one.
I'll make
I
a
loved
motion.
that.
Which one you want to start with?
Close the meeting.
What?
Meeting.
They make a motion to close the meeting,
Second?
adjourn.
Okay, all in favor, we're done. Hit my button, I am, that's why. Okay, and then leave. Okay.